everybody, welcome to Elisa's Art Room. Today we're going to be working on a new journal. This one is going to be ocean themed. Y'all come in and say hi. Let me know you're here. I'm going to get you guys pulled up. We are live on Facebook. If you're catching this later over on YouTube, it's a replay. Hey Dawn. See if I can find this live. I'm a few minutes late because I was sitting here trying to think of a name. I haven't named it. I was just like, oh gosh, what am I going to call this thing? I think I'm going to go with Ocean Life. Does that sound good? I don't know. I'm not really good at naming things at all. Like, I usually just will name something to do with it, you know? I've just never been good at naming stuff. All right, so I've got it all kind of laid out here. This is going to be our cover, kind of, sort of. I'm going to talk about it more once I get the camera pulled up. But basically, it's going to be ocean, sea life, kind of nautical journal. I don't know exactly. It's going to have ocean stuff and, you know, probably some ships and some sea creatures, maybe some mermaids. I don't know. That's the thought process. So that's what we're going to do. I only have a couple people on. I know a couple said they couldn't come today, so I'm just probably going to go ahead and pull up and get started. Hey, Lori. All right, hold on one second. Okay, let's see if we're straight. All right. So, I wasn't sure what fabric I was going to use. I was kind of going through all my fabrics. I have a decent amount of stuff because I had bought some stuff a while back that is ocean themed, but I decided to go with this. This is actually I kind of put it together because I didn't want to forget anything. This is a placemat from Dollar Tree, and I've cut it down, and I grabbed it at Dollar Tree. They've got that, what is it called, Shore Living, something like that collection they do every year with some nautical kind of stuff. And it's, you know, it's longer than this normally. It's like about so big and, you know, yay big. It's placemat sized. So I cut it off. The little piece that was in this color I used for that. I just, you know, made it longer. And I went ahead and tried to size it and cut it out because I had to iron it to get it to stay flat. Because this one doesn't really ravel like I normally do because it has a interfacing that's on it already. So it's not going to ravel very much. So I wanted to kind of fold over the edges, and I needed to do that with my iron, so I had to kind of go ahead and cut it out and do that step. But you can catch, you know, any of my other lives on making these. It's pretty much the same method. I was just without the raveled edges. So I've got the two pieces. You know, I just stuck them together so that they would kind of stay after I ironed them. So this piece is going to be the pocket, and I've just folded it over. It's not really glued yet or anything because I'm going to do sewing on this mostly. And then this will be the inside. And then you can see I've just kind of folded it over. I may end up mitering these edges. It wasn't mitered on the placemat. It's not super thick, but I might miter it in the outside. So it's got a cute little shell design, you know, and I have a lot of nautical fabrics. I almost used this one, but I did just see someone else should do this one, so I decided not to. but I'll use it somewhere in the journal, I'm sure. But you can see I've got quite a few things. Some lighthouses and this. So several bits of fabric there. So all I did was I'm going to use the Amazon packaging like we've been doing lately. And so I took the packaging. That's your first step, is to find some Amazon packaging if you have some. If you don't have Amazon packaging, you can just use the fabric, honestly. Or if you want it a little bit firmer, then, you know, throw something inside. It can be this kind of packaging. It can just be some batting, you know, whatever you want to use. But I'm reusing this. So this was like this initially, just like that. And I opened it up by splitting the edges with my palette knife. I just kind of lay along there and split it. I'm not going to do this side because it doesn't need done, but I've showed it to you guys before. You just basically work your knife under there, because you can pull it apart, but it's a little more risky than using something nice and flat like this. So I opened it up, and then because it's got all this stuff, I like to turn it inside out. That way I don't have to worry about anything showing through, and I don't have to paint it. You can just paint it with some gesso or something too if you don't want to open it up. But that's why I did that. And then I'm going to do the pocket thing I've been doing on this side. So this is cut to my typical size, which should be around 6 by 9. Let me see. I didn't measure it, so I don't know what it is. So yeah, approximately 6 by 9. So, which means it's really 12, okay, across by 9. So I like doing that size because it fits a normal sheet of paper that has been folded in half, and that fits in there nicely. Okay, so I tend to keep to that kind of a standard size just for me. Every now and then I'll do mini journals and other things, but I would say this is definitely my most common size. So you can see I've got a lot of writing on here. This is just because I forget steps, guys. I'm normal and I'm human like everybody else, and I will forget stuff. And it kind of helps me to stay on track as I'm going. It's not perfect because I've still forgotten stuff after I've had it written, but it does help. So the first step is to cut your fabric to the size. Okay, now you want it a little bit bigger, say 1/8 of an inch bigger than your bag. For one thing, because when you fold it, it tends to, for some reason, get smaller when it's folded. I don't know why. It doesn't make logical sense to me, but it always does. But just make it a little bit bigger, not too much bigger. When I do the ruffles that are just the frayed edges, I don't care how much bigger it is because I can just fray off more and whatever. But when I'm doing it exact like this, it has to be a little more exact because I do have a folded over edge. So that's what I did. I cut it to size, and I've got my inside and my front. And then you have to make sure you know what you want to be the front. Do I want this to be the front, or do I want this to be the front? You know, it's 1.5 dozen the other. I'm going to put a bunch of stuff on this, so it doesn't really matter which way I go. I might just go with this one. I don't know. It doesn't matter. So you've got your front and your inside, and then a pocket if you want one. And this one had enough material left over that it made like a perfect pocket already, so I just went ahead and that's going to be my pocket. Okay. You want to make sure that you have something for a tie. There are a couple of things you can do. You can use a ribbon that goes through, or you can put like an eyelet right here that goes through this stuff. But when I'm doing the pocket, I don't like to do the eyelet because I can't do it on the back side unless I put the pocket on the top, which is an option, but I want my pocket on the side, so I'm not going to do the eyelet thing, eyelet closure there. You can also just have a piece of material that you wrap around it when it's done. It really, there's a billion ways you can make closures, but for today we're going to put a ribbon through it. Okay, so these are my notes. So this comes apart because it doesn't go on there together, obviously. So my notes tell me outside front, so I have to decide, you know, what my front is. And then my notes tell me this is the inside, right and left, and this is my pocket area. Okay, now because I'm going to be putting this on here and adding this as a pocket, I can't sew this closed. Okay, so that's a step that always gets me, guys. You don't know how many times I've sewed it closed accidentally. Because, and you know, sometimes it's just like, all right, forget it, I'll just leave it closed. But you can always pull the stitching back out. It's not the end of the world, but you know. So we're going to put a pocket here. So I've got my little notes here that tell me that's my pocket side, and tells me to put my ribbon here. Okay, so my ribbon is going to go here. Sometimes I put my ribbon in here and I go through this to the outside here. I'm not going to do that because I don't have the batting here that would hide that ribbon very well. So I'm just going to leave it on the inside and try to secure it real well. The reason for putting it on the outside is that all the pulling on it is a little more secure if it's on the outside of this as opposed to on the inside. But this will have this second piece on it, and there's not a pocket on this side. So it will have this piece for some security too. So I'm not worried about it. It should be fine. But don't forget to put your ribbon in there before you start sewing everything together. So it says cover me, and the reason it says that is because there's going to be a pocket there. So the only thing I'm going to cover is that little section there and this little section here. And that's just because it'll look neater. No other reason, guys. It's just because it looks a little neater when you open it up and you look in it. It does not have to be covered. There's no like rule that says it has to be. But I'm gonna, this has a shiny side and a dull side, so I'm gonna try to put the shiny side on the outside. So I think I want the dull side up. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I want the dull side up for that. Okay, and my ribbon's just gonna go there, and I just try to find the center and make sure it's long enough to tie. I like to put it all the way through because it does give it a little more strength, honestly. So that's why I'm going to put it all the way through. So for me, step one on this one is going to be putting my ribbon down. Then I'm going to cover this. I'll pull this out. And I'm going to cover this. It can be paper. Paper's honestly a little easier than fabric, or it could be fabric. It doesn't really matter. Like I said, it's just for looks. There's a little bit of sticky on here, which is kind of helpful. So which is my dull side? That's my dull side. I think that was my center. Let me just double check. Yeah. So, and you can just guess. It doesn't have to be exact center, but you know, try to get it close. There's more than enough ribbon here to tie off. So, I mean, separately, am I frozen? My iPad froze. Sewing separately this piece and this piece because I don't want to close that pocket. And that's the part that always gets me, guys. Every time. So there's going to be some sewing on today. It's going to be complicated. I'm going to have to pull the sewing machine over and all that. But it's really the only way I can do it with y'all, so. We're going to use, I think, Fabri-Tac for the most part. Both of my glues show through this fabric a little bit. So I'm hoping it's not terrible. The Fabri-Tac, even when I brushed it down, it did seem to show through a little bit. It's not horrible. And then the PVA glue also showed through a little bit, even though I put it on really thin. but the Fabri-Tac was a tiny bit less, so I'm going to try to do, I think, the Fabri-Tac on it. I always try to do a test, especially when I'm dealing with really thin stuff like this. Even though it's got that interfacing, which you would think would really help, it really didn't help a lot. Could I have lined it with something else? Sure, but that's another step, and we're not going to take another step. So why add more? So I'm going to attach this ribbon just to the center part. I think it's going to work okay. You want to make sure that you're attaching it to this part, because this is the part I want to pull over. Okay, and then I want this open. So I don't want to attach it here because it'll just pull too much on that side and it won't close the top or the back technically. So make sure you put it on the right side. Don't put it on the bottom side. So let's see if we can get this Fabri-Tac to come out. I'm not going to put a ton because I am going to be sewing it on the edge too. Kind of try to get somewhat straight. And I'm just going to put a little bit on here just to kind of hold it in place so it's not moving around too much. And you can use your grid if you want to. It does help. The most important thing is when I fold it in half that these two match up. So I will just check that. I have a little bit of playtime with this Fabri-Tac. So I'm just going to double check that it comes together at the right spot, okay? And that's decent. It is the tiniest bit higher, but I can fix that real easy. Just move it down just a teeny, teeny, teeny bit. Okay? And just make sure that it's not pulling or anything right there. It seems okay. So that's that step. So we got to find something to cover this with. I hadn't even thought about it, guys. Like I said, I don't think I'm going to use the fabric. I don't know. I could. It's kind of busy. The coral's not bad. Let me see what the coral looks like inside that. It's actually not bad, is it? Maybe I could use the fabric. Like I said, using the fabric's a little challenging. More challenging than paper. Paper's easier. But I don't know if I have a good paper. I don't think I have any sea life papers. Like marine, well, I have like maps, but that's probably about it. I don't have a lot of papers that are that theme. I'm going to have to go try to find something. So let me see what I have real quick here. If I have anything that would work. I have some sky. It's blue. I'll pull that out. There might be something in one of my things, but I don't know. Let me see what this blue sky looks like. I know it's sky, it's not ocean, but it's just to cover up the inside. I think the color, it's not terrible. That's one way I could do it. Let me see if I see anything else without taking too much time. I totally spaced having to put something there, even though I wrote it down. Butterflies, what's in here? Maybe Country Road. Let's see. Where is it hiding? Country Road's got like some driftwood and stuff. Let me see what that looks like. If there's any colors that will match. The sky might be a good option. I'm just trying to get colors that will look decent with this when you peek in, you know. That color is really good with that. I might just go with that, guys. I thought there was something in here that's kind of driftwoody. I mean, that's kind of, but the color's not right. Huh. You know what? Should I do the sky? It's more of a blue. It does not really match that blue. Or should I do this? It's more like that. I'm thinking maybe that. It's just, the color is really good. It matches that almost perfectly. It's not quite as thick of a paper as I would like, but we'll go with it anyway, I think. I wish I had heavier paper. This is a little bit heavier. The only other heavier paper I have is haberdashery, which is brown, and ephemera, which I don't think will match. I only have a couple of cardstock papers. Let me look at ephemera real quick and see if there's anything that matches. But you like this? I do like the color. I just wish it was thicker. It might be fine. I mean, it's not going to get a lot of pressure on it, I don't think, or anything. The ribbon will be sewed at the edge. Yeah, other than that, I've just got, you know, a few little maybe nautical things, but they don't really match. Let's go with the one that matches. I think that's prettiest. Let's do that. Just because the color is real good. So we're going to do that. Whew, I'm burning up, guys. It was 82 degrees in here when I looked up a minute ago. I had to turn the air on. I was like, oh my goodness, no wonder I'm melting. All right, so I'm only going to do just part of this. You don't even have to go to the center, just a little bit of the edge. I could probably double it. Let me see how much I have here. If I doubled it, I don't think I'd have enough to double it and make it work, so. Well, unless I use 2 sheets. I don't want to use 2 sheets. So you really only need it to show just a little bit. I don't need to double it, guys. I'm overthinking it. Let's just do partial. Oops, wrong way. Let's just do a little. So I'm going to do, oh, I don't know. Try to get the right way. I think 5 inches, that's probably too much. Let's just do 4 inches. I don't think I need a whole 5. I'll just do a little 4-inch piece there. And that's probably not enough for both sides, so we'll do one more. Let me see if that's deep enough. So I'll do one more this way. So another 4-inch piece here. And then I'll figure out how long it needs to be. Now remember, I'll be sewing this edge, so it doesn't really have to go all the way, but might as well. We'll have to sew through it, but. So, I don't think I'm going to go quite to the edge. We'll go about to here. I think it's that mark. That fold is a little confusing there. So I think that's never going to show. Let's try this one. So let's see how long that is. So can't tell because I could just stick them together and cut them, guys. Why make it difficult? I think I want them both to be this color. I'm debating which side I want to do. I think that side. So let's just stick them together. Helps if you put the one with the mark on the top. It does not have to be absolutely exact for this. Just get close. Alright, so let's glue that on there. So one will go there and one will go here. I'm just going to use art glitter for this one. I could even, honestly, could use a glue stick, but art glitter will hold better, so we'll use art glitter. And I don't think the art glitter will gum up my needle as much if I sew through it as that Fabri-Tac does. And I'm not going to put a ton on here. The inside's not going to get sewed. Just the outside. I'm going to try to stay on the edge. So we're going to put this on the edge as close as I can get. Think about there. Okay, so there's one side. There are a lot of steps to making a cover this way, so you'll probably, if it's your first time, just watch and pause. I would watch it all the way through first, because sometimes I make mistakes and I have to go back and fix them. So it's best to always watch one of my videos, or anybody's for that matter, all the way through once, and then go back and pause as you need to. That way you don't end up making the same mistake they made. Okay. So there's our paper. So that'll be our paper cover. And when you look into the pocket, you'll see that. Okay. And this is the outside back. And this is the inside. So the first thing I have to do, I have to sew the fabrics on here. I want to sew them first, because otherwise I'll close it in there, and we don't want to close it. So I've got this piece here, which I'm going to put on this side, and I'm going to try to get it on here without making a mess. Let me think about everything and make sure I'm not missing any steps. I've got my ribbon. This is my inside. That's my outside. This is the top. It hasn't been closed down, but I'll probably I don't know if I want to glue it or not. I'm not going to glue it yet, because I'm going to be sewing with it open, but at one point I might glue it. So this is going to go here. So let me think about this. I might have to take this apart. Let me think. So if it's like this, I didn't miter my edges. I need to do that too. Like I said, it's not super thick. It's probably not a huge deal, but they'll show, and I don't want them to show. Yeah, I might have to take it apart. I just think it'll be easier if I do. We'll see. All right, let's miter the edges before I forget. Where are my scissors? There they are. So I'm just going to cut off just this little bit of this corner. Now I'm not going to go exactly to that point, because I don't want it fraying right there. So just a little bit off of this edge. Just stay like 1/8 of an inch away or something. It's just enough to take off some of that bulk, so you don't have all that bulk that you don't need. And then it also doesn't show like this little edge here. So that's the reason for mitering. Okay. And then I'll probably glue those down just to make sure they stay in place before I try to sew it. That one's a little weird, but I think it'll be okay. Which side was first? That side. Let's take a little more off of that. Just a little bit right there. And one more. Hey, Deborah. See, we got a couple of people possibly lurking. I see Pam and Verna. Hello to y'all. I think that's far enough. Let's get it just a teeny bit more. I'm just trying to keep that edge from showing. All right, so I'm just going to tack that down. I don't even know if I'm going to use Fabri-Tac for that. I'm just going to tack it just a little bit right there. We're just going to use this art glitter because it'll work fine. It also dries pretty fast, if it'll stay. This is a little bit of almost a polyester kind of feel. It's not wanting to stick. I might have to use the Fabri-Tac. It stuck to that one. I just didn't get enough, I guess. We'll put a little bit more. Try not to go too much because it shows through. Come on, stay. Goodness. Don't think it'll show through as long as it's on the inside layer. It is really not wanting to stick, is it? It only has to stick long enough for me to sew it. Come on. I still got a little corner showing. Yeah, it does not like this glue at all. So we'll be using the other glue. It could be this interfacing too. Who knows? Could be that interfacing doesn't like that glue. It didn't stick at all there. Just stay long enough for me to sew you. All right, we'll switch over to Fabri-Tac, guys. If I can find my pen. All right, so this, because I have to sew this whole side down, okay, and then put it together, because otherwise, so I'm going to pull this apart if I can. Let me see what it looks like. I think I just need to cut it. It looks like it's just a straight fold right there. Yeah, I just need to cut it and just make sure my ribbon's out of the way. We're just going to cut on that fold. I think that's the easiest thing to do. That way I can sew that edge. If you're not doing a pocket, you can skip all this, and it's honestly a whole lot easier. But I just really like the pockets. I don't know why. I just do. All right, there. So you got to make sure we don't get confused now. So I'm going to pull this back together like it was. And then I'm trying not to confuse myself, so. Inside right. This is where you got to write on stuff. I'm just going to stick it together for a second so I can see what I'm doing. Is that the right edge? It has to be the right edge because the two papers are together. All right, inside, outside, back. Okay. Yeah, that's the right edge. All right, so once you're sure you're in the right place, then you can line up this fabric. And this is the inside fabric. So it's going to go to this piece. So I can move this out of the way and just, I'm going to write on it real quick. Although that does help a lot. So, I mean, obviously it's the inside. I'm just going to say left, just so I know. I don't think I need it. All right, so we're going to glue this to this just a little bit, and we're going to put our pocket on. So I want to put the pocket, I think, first. I could possibly just glue the pocket, but I think it'll be better if I sew it. Make sure I'm at the top. So that is my top. I didn't draw like an arrow, but I did. My writing is the right way, so I kind of know, but you might want to draw an arrow. So I'm going to put this on here. So I think I'm just going to sew around here first on this material. I could try to do it at the same time. I just don't know if I can. So I'm going to just be safe and sew that first. And then I'll sew this to this. So we got to get the sewing machine out. So I should pin this somewhat. It's going to have a little bit of stitching, but extra probably. And I'm keeping it up from the edge just a little bit, just in case it gets too bulky there. Alright, so we're going to sew that. I'm going to grab my sewing machine here. I put blue thread in my sewing machine. I think that'll work best. Let's see if I can get this over here without crashing everything. Hopefully it's not going to be too much in y'all's way. It'll be noisy and all that, but there's not much I can do about that. And I'm going to have to move it twice because I got to go around the table to plug it in. There's no good way to do this, really. At least not with my setup. Oops. Missed a wrap. Okay. Let me go plug it in. I got to probably take my mic off. Thing is frozen again. I can't see y'all. No. Go to my page. Hold on. Let me find y'all again. There. Okay. Goodness gracious. That thing crashes too much. That's why I film with my iPad, because my iPhone will not stay connected. I don't know why. They're literally the same on the same internet. Both are, you know, apples or whatever. It doesn't make any sense to me. All right, so I'm going to try to sew this on here. Hopefully I should be able to. I don't know how much you can see. Not a lot, but I know it's some. And hopefully I can get it somewhat straight. We're just doing a basic straight stitch. Trying to make sure it stays folded down as I go. And both seams are staying folded down. It's a little bit slippery, this fabric. Not terrible. It's definitely a little slippery. Good thing I left some extra room, because it's definitely moving. Don't freeze on me. My sewing machine is not the happiest. Yeah, I'm way long. I wonder why. Look how far over I am. That's why. That's why I'm too far on this side. Oh well, it'll be fine. I could fold it over a little more. Should I? I think I've already glued it. No, I'll just leave it. It's fine. I might have to clean this thing again. It's sounding rough again. I think when you use them with paper and stuff, they get a little, I'm hoping that's not pulling too much. I think it'll be all right. They get a little bit, I don't know, dirty. All right, inside right. Get that thread. Where's that other one? All right, I'm gonna try to do this over here. I think you guys can see enough without having to move that again. So inside right, this is the pocket that is on the top. Hold on. This is like this. This is like this. That's like that. Yeah. Okay. That's right. Whew. It's complicated, guys. So this is going here. Now, trick is going to be keeping this guy in place. So I'm going to do it this side and try to line it up to where it's just got a tiny bit on all the edges. That's the plan. We'll see how it works. We'll see if it stretches too much or causes issues. Am I the right direction? I think so. I think I am. I'm going to go that way just a fraction more. I'm still getting used to using these little clips instead of pens. I've always used pens. I like the convenience of them, but they are definitely more bulky. I think it just takes getting used to it, maybe. This is probably not perfectly square, so we're going to hope for the best. I need more. Oh, there they are. I was like, where'd they go? I had a bunch of them out. Hopefully that is good enough. All right, I just want to do the whole thing, but I want to do, I don't have to technically do all of this, but I can. I really just have to do the pocket side first, right? Yeah, I don't want to do anything else. I just want to do the pocket side. Let me just remember what I'm doing. But I am going to keep it pinned because I don't want it moving. I want it to stay, hopefully, where it's supposed to stay. That's the goal. So let's just do this pocket side and see if it works. I'm going to try to do it from this side because I want the stitching on the right side, but it's hard to see my edge. And I might do twice just to make sure it secures good. Make sure you do your little, see? It's locking up, guys. Don't lock up. This sewing machine really hates me. Let me make sure I'm getting that edge. Just barely. Come in just a fraction. Just want to make sure I'm actually catching the edge because I can't see it from this side. Now I'm hitting my board. Let me just take a peek and see how close I am. And then I'll decide if I want to do one more. All right, I just caught it. Let's make sure you can see. So just barely caught the edge of that cardboard. So I'm going to come in maybe just a little bit more on the next one. So I'm going to do two just to make sure it's nice and secure for the pocket because it gets a lot of pulling, you know. I hope I'm doing this right, guys. I'm always so nervous that I'm doing the wrong side or something. That's why I write all those notes, and hopefully it helps. All right. So there's that side. Hopefully that is correct. I gotta put the other one on the other side. I'm gonna keep this out so I can look at it. I'm gonna try to keep that together for right now. So this goes inside like this. Ribbon goes out. Stay over there. And then opens like that. Yeah. So the fabric goes there. So let's pull that off, flip it over, outside front, grab my fabric, decide which one I want on the front. I was going to do this one. I don't know, guys. because I'm going to be putting some other stuff on, I don't know if maybe it's better if it's not as busy. Let me see what it looks like. I mean, both of them are pretty. I'm going to do the less busy side because I am going to put some other stuff on there, and it's more of a background, so I think I'm going to put that side out. So I just want to make sure it's lined up. And then I'm just going to do the pocket side, wherever that is. It's over here. So we're just going to do the pocket side first. So let's get everything laid on there. And of course, I probably won't have enough clips. Maybe I will. I'm trying to stay close, but not so close that it will cause a problem. All right, let's see. This one will be a little trickier because we got that ribbon, but not undoable, guys. Don't let me scare you. All right, I'm just going to put this on here so it stays where it's supposed to stay, hopefully. Grab a couple more clips. I had to go through all kinds of boxes to find clips. That's a little bit close. I'll pull it this way just a fraction, guys. This doesn't have as much material because I cut wrong when I first did it, and so I didn't leave enough material. Try to make sure. Oh, I didn't miter this either, did I? Is it a big deal? I don't know. Let me look at them. I might just real quickly kind of miter it. I'm not going to glue it though. I'm just gonna chop off that corner just a little bit so it's not sticking out so much. And then I'm going to move it this way just a fraction. Like I said, I have more room on this side for some reason. Hopefully my pocket lines up okay. That's kind of a challenge too. We're not sewing that yet, so I might come back and play with it. That side's already mitered. Let me open this one up. This one's big. No matter what, I don't get far enough every time. Alright, there. And you don't really have to sew it as long as it stays in place. That's kind of the key. So let's line this up. It's getting off crooked on me. That's got to be you. Are you the culprit? I don't think this side is a square when I cut it. Alright, so we just want to sew this pocket down so that it is sewed separately. You guys understand that, right? The reason I'm doing that. When I get to here where this ribbon is, I'm going to go back and forth a couple times just to give it a little extra security. Alright, you guys still there? Alright, I think so. Let's move that there. Oh, I was going to sew it on the other side. Ugh, I hate doing that, guys. Alright, move that back over there. Move that there. I want the stitching, the good stitching, to be on the top, ideally. Ideally. How far in is that? It feels like it's about 1/8 of an inch. I'm just guessing. Make sure my ribbon's where it should be. I'm gonna knock this one off. Hold on. Don't have a lot of room on this table. So make sure your ribbon is flat. That's important. And then I'm just going to go back and forth. I don't know, just a couple times. going to do one more. I can't turn it and do it, so pull it out. Make sure I got the whole thing. Yep, did pretty good that time. Could y'all see that? Let me look. I'm trying to look at the camera. Yep, yeah, I can see. Okay. Don't need that now. So I'll do one more just for strength. All right. There we go. Now, slide that up there for a second. So, just see what that looks like. Looks okay. All right, so at this point, I am going to kind of glue the fabric on there. I've got it hopefully where it'll stay. Can I do, let me see if I can move this any. Is that in your way? It's a little in your way. I might can move this board. Let me see if I can move this. I'm trying to figure out a way to do this without having to move the sewing machine completely. Maybe there. Will that work? All right, I think that'll work. All right, so I didn't glue this down yet. I just don't want it to show through too much. So I'm going to try to do it and spread it a decent amount so it won't show through too much, hopefully. Hopefully. Now I could have glued it before I sewed it, but because when I'm dealing with stretchy fabric like this, it tends to move on me, and it was a little safer, I think, for me to just sew that edge first, I think. So we're going to try to use this Fabri-Tac. I think this is fairly liquid. Yeah, it seems fairly liquid. Some of my Fabri-Tacs are very dry. And we're going to do half, and then we'll do half and see how that works. I have no idea if I'm the right direction, guys. Not that this is a super directional fabric, but I hope I am. I don't know. Honestly, just don't know. I'm not going to go too close to the outside edge on this one because I don't want it gooping up my machine too much. So I'll just do half. Yeah, not the pocket side. I'm just making sure I'm not gluing any pockets. And then I'm going to spread it out with a little spreader. Just some to kind of hopefully keep it from showing as much. It only has to hold some. You're going to sew it, so. As long as it holds enough, it should be fine. Yeah, I don't know if I'm directionally right on that. Let me look at it. Yeah, that's fine. It's doable. All right, so there's that half. Let's do the other half. I think that'll work just fine. Even the center part, that's also going to get sewed when you put your signature in, so you really don't have to have a lot of glue there. That is the nice thing about sewing. So, get some on there, and I'm just going to spread it out. And you spread it, it keeps it from showing through as much. If you leave it gooped up like that, you'll definitely have lines show through. Try to make sure this one piece stays flat. And I also want to make sure it will fold. So I'm going to kind of fold it, because like I said, it sometimes stretches a little when it folds. So just probably safer to fold it. Still look pretty even, not too bad. So I'm going to put a little extra right there just because that fabric is kind of, let me use this side. It's not don't know. What am I even saying, guys? It's not long enough. My little fold over edge isn't long enough. And I have a feeling I'm going to have issues with it not catching. I'll try to catch it when I sew it, nonetheless, but come on. I keep turning it back over and then it goes back to the bottom. There. Make sure that folds there. Stay in there. All right, I think we are good. Got a decent edge. Looks right. Okay, so we want to do the same thing to the other side for our inside. Okay, think about how it goes together, like that. So I know I'm the right way and everything. Pull that there. And we're going to glue this. But I want to glue it, actually I want to glue it this way so I can glue this part. So there's nothing there that I'm going to close up, is there? No, because the pocket's here. So I'm not going to close anything. It's safe. Okay. This one's almost empty. I put a little bit of acetone in it earlier to get it nice and liquid. But it was just the dredges. I have another bottle, but I do want to use this up. Okay. All right. Hopefully we're not going to have any issues. I was more worried about showing through on this blue than the other color. For some reason it definitely seems to show through more on the blue. It's not too bad. I think it'll be all right. Not too bad. Come on. There we go. It's like there's plenty in there. It's just not coming down to the bottom. Once again, I'm not going too close to the outside. Hopefully close enough to catch that edge of the fold, but not where I'm going to sew, hopefully. Said, Fabri-Tech's probably not the best thing in the world for your needles. But spreading it out does help. You gotta kind of work fast because it dries kind of fast. All right, make sure my fold's under. Oh, something's wrong. What is it doing? Go slow. It's a little, remember I said I thought it pulled? It did. It definitely pulled. So that's pulling just a little bit. The question is, will it work or do I have to undo that thread? It might be all right. Let me fold it in. This is at least the inside, so it doesn't have to fold the other way. So that's good. But it's definitely pulling. Can you see what I mean? You see how that's pulling there? Just a little bit tight. I sewed that on a little off. My edges don't match either. I'll try to get my edges to match better when I sew the whole thing together. All right, good enough. Ooh, that's going everywhere now. It either comes out like crazy or it doesn't come out at all. So typical. Okay. All right, let's cut this thread. Cut this thread. Now, I want to line these back up the way they go. So they're going together like this. That's our pocket. So, we do not want to sew this side, okay? That's what you have to tell yourself. Over and over. Do not sew this side. If you have to put a sticky there, put a sticky there. But I'm going to try to match this side and put a whole bunch of these guys on it. And hopefully I will remember not to sew this side. Okay, no sewing there. Now this is a little off. Let's see. Can I get it to line up? I don't know. I might. Alright, I'm gonna have to pull this way just a fraction. There. It's just not quite together where it should be. Okay, let's see if that's better. Yeah, that's better. It's not perfect, but it's better. Try to get it as good as I can get it. All right. So now we want to sew everywhere but the pocket. Usually I go around twice. I don't know if it's absolutely necessary. Try to keep this together. Hopefully it won't bunch too much. Make sure it shuts. I think it's going to shut. My measurement isn't quite the same, but it's close. It's close. Pretty close. I don't have enough clips, but we'll make it work. All right. So I'm going to start. Where should I start? I should start here so that I know to stop there. So let's start here. Make sure that all of your little, I never did glue that. It's not really supposed to be a pocket on this side. You could glue that in there just to hold this down a little bit better. I think I will just because I don't want it causing me issues. I'm just going to pull that back just a fraction for a second. I'm just going to glue this side because this side is in a pocket and it's not glued. And you could just use art glitter because it's just paper, so. But go ahead and throw some glue in there, I think. That's not our pocket side because we don't have, you can tell because you don't have paper lining it. But it'll also help that ribbon to stay. Go ahead and do that. Okay. And do just a fraction right there. This one fold just keeps trying to come up on me. Stay down. There you go. All right. Now, which side did I say I was going to do first? I'll have to look again. All right, so I don't want to do the pocket, so look where the pocket is. You got that paper there to help you. That's my pocket side. And like I said, you can throw a sticky. Just take a little sticky note. There you go. Put a little sticky note there. And say, stop. I laugh, but guys, I've sewed them shut so many times. It's so frustrating when I do it too. Then you have to pull all the stitching out. It's like, ugh. All right, so I'm going to sew from here all the way around and stop there. All right, get this out of the way. Get my machine back down here. Ugh. Okay, here we go. Hopefully it works. Now I could put the good sewing on the outside, but do I want to do that? Let me think. If I do, it changes where I start and stop. How bad does that stitching look on that side? I don't think it looks that much different, honestly, but yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it right. So let me find my stop sign. I'll put it on the other side. Sorry. Put it on this side. All right, I'm gonna start here instead. That way I can have the stitching on the correct side. All right, so go right up to your corner and stay in enough that you're catching your edges, but out enough that you're also catching any folds. Oh no, just so. I'm sure I'm overthinking it, guys. It seems to go through all this stuff pretty well. I have yet to really have an issue with it not. And make sure you keep your needle down, lift your foot, turn it. Get your ribbon out of the way. You don't want to sew your ribbon down across the other side some way weird. I've probably done that too. It's easy to do. Try to keep it out of the way. I'm also watching for it gathering too much. So I'm pulling my ribbon to where it's supposed to be. Now, I could go back and forth there just once, just because it'll help that. So I did. Ooh, it got a little thick there. Must have had a bunch in the corner. Where's my ribbon? There it is. Okay. Make sure it's out of the way. Yeah, that's a little thick for some reason. Just help it. Do I need to go around this whole thing twice? Probably not. Honestly. I might just go once. Get right to the edge there. And I'm at the stop point, so I'm going to just go back. Lock that down. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got. We're going to put this foot, go over there, out of my way. All right, so we didn't sew our thing shut. I think once is fine, guys. All right, let's see what we got. It's a little snug because it wants to pop open, but I think once it's open and shut a few times, it'll be better. Okay, so we've got a ribbon. We didn't sew our ribbon shut or nothing weird. And we still have our pocket. Okay? So that is how you make this type of cover. And then you decorate. So it's not horrible. It's doable, guys. I like this type of cover. I don't know. I like softer fabric covers. It's a little crinkly. So it's got some texture going on. If you put the padding in there like I do sometimes, and it's a little softer than this even. But I didn't want to do the padding this time because it already had that interface in, and I just didn't want another layer. My glue's not showing through too bad. There's a couple little tiny spots. I'll show you what I mean. You see that little spot right there? That's what happens if it's a little too thick, but for the most part, it's not showing. Okay, and then that'll be sewn in, so this will lay nice and flat once that's all sewn together at the end. And that is how that's going to look with some decoration on it. And we're going to talk about decoration next, so this will just tie down like that. Okay, now this is just a one signature journal. I'm not making a big journal for this one. If I was going to make it bigger, I would have made more room in my spine, but I don't have a lot of marine stuff, guys. I just don't. So I think I'm just going to stick with one signature for this one. Glue all over my fingers. So it's plenty for that. It'll be similar to that Defemember one I did. It'll be similar to that. Okay. So nice. I like it. So now we have to think about the outside. I think I'm going to tie that back because it's going to be annoying. Keep opening on me. I could clip it, but. All right. So I like this for the front, I think. So I've got some netting. I get this at Michael's. It's a huge sheet. I mean, I don't know how big it is. It's probably 10 by 10. It's huge. I bought it one day. Gosh, it's probably been 2 years ago now. I said, I have so much of this stuff. I only bought it because I think it was $9.99 and I had like a 40 or 50% coupon. So I just went ahead and got the whole thing. But will I ever use all this netting? Probably not. It's made for decor or something in your house or for a set or something. But I took a piece of that and I colored it dark blue. And I just did that with acrylic paint. I used the Ink Spot multi-surface satin. And I just threw it on a paper plate and put on gloves and just scrunched it up until it was completely covered and let it dry. Easy. But I thought the blue might look cool on here instead of the natural color, because this does have it's mostly whites and stuff. I just didn't know about the natural color. So I'm going to do blue, and I think I'm going to do it and just have it kind of, just pulling everything. I'm going to have it to where it kind of comes around one side mostly. So I'll be trimming. And then I want a piece here where I'm going to add something. I don't have it yet. I don't know what it's going to be. I would love to find like a cool mermaid or something. But it could also be, I don't know. It could be a boat. It could be a couple of sea turtles or a sea turtle. It could be any kind of cool marine thing. I don't have it yet, and I haven't been able to find something, so I'm going to go to probably Hobby Lobby tomorrow maybe. I did find this at Dollar Tree along the Shore Life stuff. It was a beaded thing that I took it apart to just use the little starfish. So, and then I'll save these beads for something else. But I'm going to use the starfish. So I thought, and I colored them a couple different colors to kind of play around to see what I thought worked. I like the orange, but I don't think it fits because we don't have any orange. Now, if I buy a middle thing that maybe has a touch of orange in it, then maybe that would work. I just don't know what I'm going to get yet, so I'm probably going to not go glue these on just yet until I do figure out what I'm going to put there. But I figure I'll put these on here, something like this. And then this will wrap around. I don't know if I want to wrap it all the way. I'm thinking I will probably just have it maybe cut across. I mean, I could wrap it all the way. It does feel a little odd. So I don't know if I want to wrap it all the way because, yeah, it's definitely got some interesting texture because of all the knots. It doesn't bother me, but I know some people are bothered by textures, so who knows. But, so this is going to be trimmed, I think, like that. I just got to decide how I'm going to glue it. I could use probably Fabri-Tac. It would probably have to be clamped, though. I think the last time I might have used hot glue, I don't remember, because I did this on my masculine journal where I added some. I could go back and look at it and see, but I'm not 100% sure what I used. But I do want this to fit like this. And then, like I said, it'll go on the back some, but probably not across the whole thing. And then seashells or starfish and whatever else I find. I'm going to go look for some stuff. So I don't have everything I need for this tonight. So we'll work on this some more on Friday once I buy some more stuff. I'm going to hold off on painting these two. I can use this other side if I decide the orange doesn't work for sure. Or I could even just paint it back over white. It paints really easy with acrylic paint. It's not difficult or anything. But these I just did a little bit of white with a touch of green in it to kind of get that grayish green color. And then I just did some of that ink spot blue on the ends. And that seems to look pretty good, I think. So it might be the color I end up going with. But I think that'll look cute. Don't you think that'll look good? And then I just want something here for a focal point. I don't have it yet, so you guys are going to have to bear with me until I find it. And I thought about, if worse came to worse, I know I have some nautical stencils from Essential Stencil. There's some older sets. If worse came to worse, I could possibly stencil this on like cardboard or cardstock and layer it. I want it a little thicker. And put something like, you know, the turtles or something, and just fussy cut them out and use that. I don't know. I haven't decided, and I think I would rather have, you know, a piece that I buy, but if I can't find something, and that's a very it's a possibility that I won't be able to find something. And if I don't find something, then that's a second option. I find one of these stencils that I like, and there's a lot of them. There's a crab on here that I like. There's this lighthouse I like that could possibly be fussy cut out, and, you know, if I stencil it on something else. So that will be my backup plan, but I am going to go shop first, see if I can find something. I'm sure I will use these throughout the pages. So there's a couple of cute ones. There's a mermaid on here. It's just, you know, it's a silhouette, but there is a little mermaid. So there are options. The whale, I think, was too big. But I'm going to go see what I can find, and then we'll go from there. So y'all come back on Friday, and we will continue this one. But I at least got that cover done, and you have an idea of where we're going with it. So I think it'll look cute with this. I mean, honestly, even just doing that is cute, and then we could put maybe a saying or something, but I feel like it needs a focal point. This, like I said, I wanted this to be mostly just a background. So, and then we've got our little pockets in there, and they should be good. It's cute. All right, guys, so that is our project for today. Like I said, I want to do some shopping, because I also got to find some papers. I may end up just getting a digital for papers. I don't know. It depends on what I find. It also depends on if it's sale day at Hobby Lobby for paper, and I don't know if it is. If it's not, I may or may not buy paper, unless I find just maybe a sheet or two that looks good, because this isn't going to have a lot of pages in it. I don't know how many. I might count my Defember one and see how many I put in there, because it closes decent, and go from that. But I'm guessing about 10, which would be 10 sheets, which would be 40 pages. 10 sheets is 40 pages, and that's what I'm guessing. So I gotta do a little bit of buying for this project, because like I said, I just don't have any marine stuff. I just didn't. So I will see you guys on Friday. All right. Y'all take care. If you have any questions, just send me a little PM and I will get back to you. All right. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.